Good morning, everybody. Welcome back once again to the Hoop Hogs video mailbag. Curtis Wilkerson here with Inside Arkansas on the Pod at the Palace, coming to you with our daily Arkansas basketball Q&A. I've been looking forward to doing this one, and it comes from none other than our man Kingsley. Kingsley says, top 3 things you want to see Boogie Fland learn from Tyler Ulis. I'm really glad that you asked that question, Kingsley. And there's a lot. We could go a lot of different directions here. But first, we got to talk about Tyler Ulis. I mean, I think if you've been following Arkansas basketball in the SEC, you have a pretty good idea of who he is. He was a really, really good basketball player under John Calipari. I mean, we're talking about a guy who, first of all, he was just recently officially hired. We've known this was going to be a thing for the longest now, but it was officially announced recently that he's been added to the staff as a basketball assistant. That's why the question's out there. He's part of Arkansas staff now. Tyler Ulis was the 2016 SEC Player of the Year. He was a first-team All-American, just an absolute stud, wound up being a second-round draft pick, had a nice little playing career, was cut short by injuries. He had a car accident, and now he's kind of turned his attention to coaching, right? And honestly, I think he's got a hell of a bright future. I think he's a future head coach, and that's saying something for a guy who's still young and very green to this part of the profession. But he was the La Familia coach, if you guys watched the TBT tournament, and you could just tell by watching him out there on the sideline that this dude, he gets it. He absolutely does. I think it's a huge addition to the Razorback staff, and John Calipari talked about him in his press conference earlier in the week. Kingsley, I'm sure you've already seen this, and maybe a lot of people have. Some haven't. So I want to play what he said about Tyler Ulis before we get into the 3 things I think Boogie Fland can really learn from him.
Well, let me say this. The first time I saw him play, first thing I said was, he's too small. He's 5'8", 150. He says he's 5'9". I don't believe it. But then the more I watched him, I'm like, wait a minute. And I've never really had small point guards. I'm like, this guy's different. He's got something. And it's an easy statement about him, which was, if you're good enough, you're big enough. Care about size. If you're good enough, you're big enough. And he ends up being drafted after 2 years. And probably, you may want to look it up, but I'll make the statement. I believe he was the lightest player ever drafted in the NBA draft. You need to think about that. There may have been somebody smaller, and no one that was weighing what he weighed. Great basketball mind. When he was my point guard, he did a lot of coaching of the team. I never said no to any of his suggestions. He would say something, I'd say, I like it, let's go with it. So having him back, giving him that opportunity. He had the injury in the NBA, set him back. He had a car accident, almost took his leg off. So it doesn't look like he's going to be able to come back and play. To give him a start, let him get going, be an on-the-court coach. So, and the kids will respect him.
I love that, man. I mean, it's some high praise, some kind words right there out of the gate. I think it's a dynamite hire for the staff. And I think he's going to be huge for player development in the backcourt. And Kingsley, you asked about Boogie Fland, and you followed back, and I saw it. You said, hey, we could probably apply this to DJ Wagner, anybody else in that backcourt, because he's a great sounding board for any of those guys back there. But I love that you started with Boogie Fland, and the reason why is because there's some similarities there. Boogie Fland, listen, Tyler Ulis is what Cal say, 5'8", 150 pounds. I think he's listed at 5'9", 160 on the last professional roster that I saw. So not a very big guy. Boogie Fland is not, he's not a small guy by any means, 6'2", 175, but smaller, I think, especially maybe right now from a physical standpoint than you'll see from a lot of SEC guards. Sorry, the slim man didn't want to be in my lap anymore. So, but he's a little bit smaller, right? And so what are some of the things that we think Boogie Fland could take away from Tyler Ulis and learn from him? I think one, what stood out to me right off the top from Cal, was that Tyler Ulis he was just basically a coach of the floor, an extension of the coaching staff. He would have suggestions. He was coaching, and that Cal trusted in him enough to where he was never telling him no. He was rolling with it. I like that a lot, because I think if Boogie Fland can pick up kind of that true coach on the floor, true floor general type of mentality, that would be huge. And I think that's something Tyler Ulis can really help instill in him right away. Two, I just think overcoming maybe some of the skeptics who talk about your size to be a star, because that's exactly what Tyler Ulis did. And that's, if anybody has any questions about Boogie Fland, it's not because of his skill set, because he's incredibly, incredibly talented. It's, well, is he big enough? Right? Can it translate to the SEC? Will he be able to handle the size, and the physicality of the league? Well, Tyler Ulis was able to do that, and he really morphed into just a complete player at his size. I mean, he averaged 17 points and 7 assists per game in a season. That's ridiculous. But if Boogie Fland, and when we heard from him over the summer, one of the things he said was, when he was asked about, position, everything like that, he's like, no, I'm a point guard. And there's something to be said. There's a prime example that you're going to be working out with and hearing from, and a voice in the room every single day, who was able to do both. Could score when he had to score at a high level, and could dish it and get his teammates involved and make everybody on the floor better. And if he can pick up that part of the game, you're only going to have him for a year, I guess is what I'll say with Boogie. And then the third thing about it, I don't guess I realized this, but Tyler Ulis was SEC Defensive Player of the Year also at 5'8", 150 pounds. Well, here's the thing with Boogie Fland. The question is, on the defensive end, can he hold up physically, right? With some of the bigger, powerful, the Mark Sears of the world, right, in the SEC. Well, Tyler Ulis was a guy who was able to maximize his defensive potential, even though he wasn't that big, because he was so quick, so fast, such a pest, had tremendous instincts. He'd pick you up 94 feet. He could get in the passing lanes. He was just so disruptive. He kind of had that Zakai Ziegler about him. And that's kind of that mentality that you want to see Boogie Fland pick up, because he has a lot of those same traits. He is a guy who will pick you up the full length of the floor. He is a guy who can anticipate and get in passing lanes. He's deceptively long at 6'2" there, so he can get some deflections and get out and create some things in the open floor. I think that this is just a great, great person to have in his corner in Tyler Ulis. And he's just got kind of that grittiness, that toughness, that swagger about him. And you can see some of those traits in a young Boogie Fland, but can he bring them to the forefront of his game, and can he do it early? Helping streamline the development is going to be a big deal for Tyler Ulis. And I think that he's a guy that Boogie Fland's going to listen to, going to put a lot of trust in. And I'm really anxious to see how that relationship blossoms and how Boogie Fland blossoms as a result of it. So a great question there, Kingsley. I think this is a home run hire, like I said, for Arkansas. I think it's huge for Boogie Fland and everyone else in that backcourt, and I'm really, really excited about it. I'm looking forward to seeing them in action. So, guys, keep the questions coming. Keep them coming. We still got room. We're going to keep doing these until we run out, right? And thank you guys, as always, for the engagement, the interaction. You want to know how to get the questions in, hop over on my Twitter profile. You see it right there, at Kurt Wilkerson _. There's a pinned thread, the Hoop Hogs video mailbag. Throw them in there. Shoot me a DM. Get in the YouTube comments. However you want to get your questions in, I will eventually find them and get to them. We're going to start our player preview series tomorrow morning. Appreciate you guys. Make sure you get subscribed to our YouTube channel, Inside Arkansas. Keep following along. We'll be back at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. It's been Curtis Wilkerson with Inside Arkansas on the Pod at the Palace. We'll see you all tomorrow. Everybody have a good one.